Come on down for the 35th anniversary of the Sundre Pro Rodeo, where you can enjoy some of North America's top cowboys and cowgirls compete for those world-renowned gist buckles. Just remember to bring your boots, hat, and go wild, go west attitude. But wait a second, why go west to the little town of Sundre if we want to get a little wild? How can a parade and pancake breakfast, with a few rodeo performances thrown in, cause a stir in the community like no other? Well, you may think it's just another small town hoedown, but think again. The history of the Sundre Pro Rodeo alone is wild enough to have everyone sitting on the edge of their seats and wanting more. Let's turn our clocks back 100 years ago. Let's take away the grandstand filled with screaming fans, the racetrack, and the carnival rides that fused together to create the rodeo that we see today. Back then, the population was small, money was hard to come by, and horses played a significant role in everyday life. Farmers used horses to pull their plows. Horses pulled delivery wagons for businesses such as dairy and coal companies. And of course, horses were used to raise a little stir and excitement in the community when locals would saddle up a wild one and see who could stay on the longest. An early legend says the first rodeo to ever be held in Sundre was put on by a Mexican trick rider in 1916. But at that time, these rodeos were not rodeos at all, but rather a picnic, where locals would arrange their Model Ts and wagons in a circular fashion, creating an infield for our cowboys. Mothers would pack lunches for their children, and the whole family would watch as their papa tried to outride that neighbor down the road. In later years, as this fun competition grew, it was named the Sundre Stampede. This became a very popular get-together within the settlement and held events such as the open bucking contest, fancy roping, and the novelty Indian race. Each night there was a dance in the dirt of the grounds with a first-class orchestra in attendance. Sundre even made unofficial history as the first rodeo to ever hold chuck wagon races, using teams of draft horses and the wagons of our early settlers even before the Calgary Stampede. The fact that Sundre made history in this event before the greatest show on earth did is wild on its own. And honestly, partying with an orchestra does not get much wilder than that. In 1979, Gary Logan transformed this amateur rodeo into the pro rodeo that we see today. Unfortunately, he never lived to see his dreams come true, as he was killed in a tragic plane crash earlier that same year. But it's due to Gary's wild dreams that we now have wilder stock and wilder competitors that make for a wild crowd too. So of course, don't get me wrong, the Sundre Rodeo is tame enough to bring your family, but it has a history and heart that is just wild enough to keep you coming back year after year for more action. If you think that you can handle this jaw-dropping, heart-stopping, edge-of-your-seats action, come join our new and improved picnic, June 20th to 22nd. Go wild, go west, and you will not be disappointed.